Hey, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that I have tested positive for codependence.
Oh no.
But the good news is that so have you.
Oh, okay. That's so much better because I can't live knowing that you'd be codependent and me not. Now I feel so much better.
And I need you to be codependent.
Yes. All joking aside, sometimes it's hard to understand the difference between caring about another person and supporting them versus codependency. What is codependency? Literally, the word codependent means that you are dependent together with the other person. Psychologically, it means that somehow or another, you need the other person to need you. You need the other person to be weak in order for you to be strong. You can't allow them to stand on their own 2 feet, to learn from their problems, or to even fail at their problems.
Judging, resenting, and pathologizing your partner for having idiosyncrasies and difficulties and challenges and sometimes the effects of trauma that they have difficulties with, that in itself is codependent because that means that you need your partner to be inferior so that you can feel superior.
Right, like sometimes you can tolerate an idiosyncrasy of another spouse. They should work on it, but they don't have to work on it.
An example of that would be a partner who has a terrible fear of elevators and they insist on taking the stairs, even if it means climbing 22 flights of stairs. And to be supportive and accepting would be to go up the stairs with them. Every time you go into a building, it could be in the middle of Manhattan, and you climb the stairs instead of taking the elevator, which would be so much easier. And you could either be annoyed and pathologize your partner, or you could just be supportive and understand.
Technically, codependency is just a pattern of human behavior. And like all patterns of human behavior, it can be good or bad. You can't really evaluate for sure whether going up the stairs with a spouse is a loving act or a codependent act. A lot of it depends on how important it is. But what you can ask yourself is 2 things. One is how damaging is the behavior, and 2 is how voluntary is your behavior. If you can't survive without walking up the stairs with your spouse, or your spouse can't survive without you walking up the stairs with them, now you're edging into that codependent behavior. If the problem itself, if the behavior is so dangerous and destructive, such as something like alcoholism, well, or some other addiction, then perhaps the message has to be that the person needs to work out their problem for themselves because it won't end well if you keep supporting it.
An example of really toxic of codependency would be a partner who has an addiction like alcoholism or is abusive toward you or your children. That would not be okay to be supportive and accepting.
Right. So ultimately, it's a judgment call. But I think that the end is like the heart knows and the soul knows whether you're caring about another person because you really care and you want them to succeed, or in some way you're scared and you need them to need you. And so you just have to hold the status quo, whatever the cost might be.